All right, so I'm at my neighbor's smart meter, and if you go to close range magnetic, you'll see it go all the way to the red um, every, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds. And that's because it's pulsing out data, information. So it's basically like having a small cell tower on your home. And so this is why they're so dangerous. They're also fire hazards. They've been known to cause a lot of fires, and there's a lot of funny business going on with covering up that information. And also, when they do these power shutoffs, um, it's a fire hazard to when they restart the energy, and the surge goes through here, um, and that could cause kind of an overload. I have the literature on it from a fellow activist, and I'm probably not explaining it as good as I can, but hopefully that makes sense. You know, when they cut the power, then they turn the power back on. It could blow, basically. You know, that surge that comes through. So these are dangerous, and they just rolled this out, and they have a big part in 5G, in the smart grid, the Internet of Things. So that's why they want these on every home. And now they're in Canada and Cal Washington, the In Power movement. They did a great job with notice of liability, getting a lot of public officials to resign because they put the liability for the harm caused by these on them. And so that's what we're doing. We're working on that. We're learning. It's a big process, and we're all not really familiar with it, but we're becoming more familiar with the process, and we are going to implement the notice of liability for 5G to our city council agents of the corporation known as our city. So I just want to give you these readings here. Now Orgone devices, they're not going to affect these readings. That's not how Orgonite works. It does its work on the etheric plane, not the electromagnetic spectrum. So you're never going to see these readings affected. If I were to put a smart meter protector on this right now, it's not going to affect the EMF readings. And if anyone says they do, they're lying, in my opinion. So what we're going to do next is get the ion tester out. And what I've seen in the past is the ion tester will be in the positive a little bit, generally. But when you put a smart meter protector on it, it does the same thing that the pyramids and all the other devices do, is the reader jumps around. Now, you could say, oh, that's creating a lot of positive ions too. And, well, okay, it's creating a lot of negative ions as well. So I have never received a testimonial from anyone saying that an Orgone device was positively ionizing their space and they can't sleep and all this stuff. It's the way the reader is, it just jumps around. And I think that has to do with sort of the etheric filtering aspect component of the devices. Okay? So let's see what they look like. Okay, so like I've said before, these ion readings are not evidence or proof of anything. They're simply observation. So don't take them too don't place too much importance on them. The plants, the water, the humans, the animals gravitating, feeling, sleeping better is important. This ion tester is not a conductor of life force. It's just picking up on some ionization changes in the surrounding area, okay? So I'm done with comment sections. If you want to comment that these ion readings carry the most weight, you're uninformed. I'm simply providing some transparency with the devices because this is a competitive industry, and I'm trying to show you that my devices, they will fluctuate the ion readings, which is just an observation, okay? So don't place too much importance on it. But you always want to do these readings, you want to go to kind of like a neutral spot, okay? And usually when you're at a neutral spot, it'll go down to 0. So let's go, it's not, so let's go to the smart meter and let's see what it reads, just kind of consistently here. Okay, so we saw from the EMF readings that it's in the red. When you go to the electric spectrum as well as the close range magnetic spectrum, it is in the red. It's dangerous. No one should be around these, okay? Now, what does the ion tester show us? Ion tester doesn't show too much going on. It's pretty pretty similar to when we could back up, we can change it a little bit. We can go right next to it. Even when I put it on, it just, doesn't, it goes up a little bit. So when you put it on, okay. So, and then it kind of goes back to normal. So we don't see too much changing, when you put it on, when you touch it, and it goes negative for a second and then goes back. So, whereas if you were to put these on a tower buster for a second, they jump way up to like 400, 500 negative. Just an observation, okay? So now we'll take it back, and it's pretty consistent right here, right? We can even back up a little bit. Pretty consistent. It's about, I don't know, 12 to 18, 11, okay? So now let's see what happens once we place a smart meter protector on them. Let's observe, and let's not put too much weight and an analysis on what these devices are doing. But negative ions for me, if I can get some negative ions to counter all this nonsense, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So take that for what it's worth. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right, so let's put the smart meter protector on. And we got a lot of rain yesterday, which was beautiful, but they did a lot of spraying before the rain, which is one of their geoengineering tactics. And so that's not cool. But that's what they like to do is when they know it's going to rain, they spray heavily before the rain so it comes down on us. And you can see the discrepancy here between real rain clouds right there and then sprayed clouds behind them. And that's also why these rainwater tests, #rainwater tests that we've done and others have done, they hold a lot of sufficient weight as far as evidence, because the barium, strontium, aluminum, titanium, manganese, iron, those they don't exist in free form in nature. They're not just up there naturally floating around. They have to be bonded to a salt, added to jet fuel, and then sprayed. And that's what they're doing. They also, when we did a water test using Oro Liquid Gold, an excellent water purifier, on some of those samples, Morgellon-like fibers actually appeared and that have grown in time, which is very creepy. So maybe we'll do another analysis of those water samples that I still have in the near future. All right, now we're doing some readings with the smart meter protector on the smart meter. And we could see it jumping around, which is pretty similar to how we see it jump around when we're just doing readings, near the iPad or wherever, just out. These testers, they're like $50, and like I said, I'm not placing too much weight on them as far as evidence. I don't think we have instruments that can detect and measure Orgone energy, because it's on the etheric plane, and all the instruments that we have are not really for the etheric plane. They're electromagnetic spectrum and other stuff. And you might get some people say, oh, I found a way to measure. Well, I'm going to stick to the basics, which is just what's a conductor of life force. You tell me what conducts life force, what has life force running through it. So what will be most affected by dead energy, and then living energy, life force energy, right? What will be most affected? You tell me. Water, 70% of the earth is water. We are 70% water, if not more. Plants are crucial for the world, humanity, animals. Water, plants, animals, insects, humans, these are all conductors of life force. So I'm going to place my energy into how people are telling me that they're feeling, reacting, sleeping, and that for me is all the evidence I need. But I'm just doing these tests just to be very transparent. Like I said, you'll see the reader jump around when they're around Orgone devices. Does that mean anything? I don't know, maybe. I myself don't, I mean, you see the reader going into the positive. I don't feel like when I have an Orgone device around, no one feels like, oh, we got more positive ions around, you know. We feel absolutely fantastic. And we sleep great, we dream great. And I have new bee friends now, and Mary used to just always want to be around the pyramids and always sniffing them and stuff. And so this test just goes to show you that these devices will cause the tester to jump around. And when you do not have a smart meter protector on the smart meter, it's just pretty steady, pumping between 10 and 20 around that in positive ions, but you know the EMF is off the charts. So what would you rather have? What would you rather have? You tell me. Would you rather have a smart meter with no protection on it, with EMF off the charts, or would you rather have a smart meter protector on it that won't really affect the EMF readings, but obviously is doing something with the ions? And if we can show that they are causing the reader to fluctuate, and people are also feeling great around them, and you have plants growing thicker and stronger, and the water showing these amazing vortexes. Well, what would you rather have? You tell me. Would you rather have nothing, or would you rather have one of these? I would rather have one of these. Even if this reader is going into the positive a little bit. And so that's why, again, I don't place too much weight on these readings. But I try to be transparent and show you that they will affect ion readings. And so yeah, there's the readings for today. I'm not sure how high this got up. We'll take a look at the video when we're done. But definitely see that you have some negative ionization, which I'll take any day of the week, even if there is some positive ones showing too. We don't know that how these devices will affect the reader. They're doing their work on the etheric plane. You don't know if that maybe the pulling in of the energy and then converting and distributing it out, maybe that shows positive on the reader. We don't understand this stuff. We're just observing. We're all learning. So a hardcore skeptic could say, "Oh, those are showing increased positive ions," completely negating the fact that they're also showing increased negative ions. So you can react how you want. That's your choice. My reaction is I will take negative ions any day of the week that the reader shows. If it means that comes with also it showing jumping up to the positive, it's like these devices create balance. Everything feels more balanced and harmonized when around these devices. So maybe that just reflects on the reader as well. That it jumps to negative 900, then it jumps to positive 500. Maybe that's just we don't know. So I appreciate your skepticism if you say, well, those are showing positive ions too. But you don't know how a device that works on the etheric plane will affect an ion reader that's $50. So anyways, I'm just doing these tests just to be fully transparent, like I said. And it's up to you whether you would rather have a naked, bare smart meter pulsing out massive pockets of data and radiation and EMF, or would you rather have something on them that's obviously doing something, and if we know that something is making people feel and sleep and dream better, and insects and animals gravitate, and water show a huge structuring vortex, and plants grow thicker, well, you tell me, what would you rather be around? And just to clarify, there is no touching of the smart meter going on. All I'm doing is going back and forth like that, and I'm about that far away, so there's no touching going on. I even go as far back as this. So just wanted to clarify. You can't really tell, it's kind of deceptive, but when I go close, I'm still about 8 inches away.